out for you, but I'm questioning what happens to it under real time? Like, have you tested that theory? And I think that's with all arts. And once again, that's not really testing the art more than you're testing yourself under pressure. You know, Hemingway's grace under pressure is you. It's like, it's not the thing, it's just got you there. Like Wing Chun may have got you in the ring, but now the test is on you, not Wing Chun. If you get knocked out, you can't blame it on Wing Chun.
Right.
It was your chin, you fell on the floor, not Wing Chun.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world right now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderful episode of Into the Dojo, where we get to the heart of martial arts and leave the politics at the door. Today, we have a fantastic guest who has taken his time to be able to come and join us today. For those of you who may not know who he is, I got a few stats for you. So we have Brother Lyte Burly here from the 52 Blocks Defense System. Brother Burly is one of the most prominent spearheads, if not the most prominent spearhead, of the 52 Blocks Street Defense System. This is a martial arts movement that has been very popular both in the New York City martial arts community as well as across the country. Lyte Burly has been pressure tested in several different martial arts. He is a pressure tested instructor of about, I think it's 30 years, correct, Lyte?
Well, you can round it off there. You can round it off. Yeah. So,
no problem. About 30 plus years of pressure tested real life martial arts experience, hands-on martial arts experience, and his unique methods have been utilized both in local tournaments in the real streets of New York, as well as in national tournaments like the Golden Gloves itself. He has also been seen on many different multimedia outlets as well as YouTube and in local TV stations as well. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in arms, please join me in welcoming Master Lyte Burly. How you doing, Lyte?
Oh man, thank you. A great introduction. I take it all. Beautiful. I love it. Hell of a red carpet.
Thank you very much. I flubbed up a little bit there, but I'm just real nervous. You know, I'm really happy to be able to meet you, brother. I've been following you for a long time. It's great to be able to have you on the show today.
Appreciate it. Great to be here, man. I like to thank you for setting the stage for me to come up on here and talk about the art of 52 from a point that most people don't get a chance to hear about it from. So always a blessing to get the words out there. So I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, brother. And that's exactly what we plan on being able to do today. We want to be able to get to that truth and honestly get under the stereotypes that a lot of people would think of for martial arts in general, as well as your art. So the first question that I have, I know I gave kind of like an overview of who you are, your experience and such like that, but if you don't mind telling the viewers, those who may be familiar with you and those who may already know the answers to these, tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you specifically to 52 Blocks.
I've always been in the martial arts. You know, I'm one of those children of the YMCA. I did karate in the YMCA. It took me a while to get past white belt. I wasn't too focused, but that was like my introduction into it. You know, the Bruce Lee movies. Then going off to a boarding school / military school where they had Taekwondo, collegiate wrestling.
Oh wow.
Archery, things of that nature. I kind of got to do more there. Then after that, get back to the streets of Queens. Art that was famous then was 52 Blocks, and pretty much it was about not being hit. It's a funny thing to explain because when you say self-defense, people are like, well, boxing is self-defense, and yes,
right.
Defense is self-defense. But there's another level of self-defense where it's the defense, and 52 was built on that. And these brothers were like, they prided themselves in making you miss and making you pay. And even back then, getting into a street fight, coming home with a black eye, even though you won the fight, the brothers considered that you lost. So pretty much this extreme thinking of winning the fight without taking no damage, it's the pressure that created 52. Like, I believe every art has the pressure that created it. Like, Kung Fu was created because the Mongolians and the Manchurians kept running up on it, and they needed to create something to fight back with. So every good art, you know, like capoeira. Every art has a pressure to it. And the pressure of 52 was the ability to fight a fight with taking no damage. And this is the, you know, the flames that helped create and forge 52, which later went into boxing and stuff like that. So I got my knowledge of that. And then, you know, years later, a couple of teachers, later on, I met Roberto Sharp and Wilson Pitts.
All right.
It was Wilson Pitts who helped me connect the dots on where 52 blocks came from. From them, I got, you know, Wing Chun.
Got on your
yeah, they gave me other stuff too, but it was Wilson Pitts who was very pivotal in helping me to see that it came from the black boxers that came into the sport of boxing. This is what they brought in. This is what made boxing the sweet sciences. It already had offense, but it didn't have defense. And,
interesting.
You know, the defense were brought in with black fighters, and then that's where boxing went from an outlawed sport to the sweet science.
Oh wow. Okay. So it's would you consider 52 born? It was born from the art of boxing. What it sounds like you're saying.
I wouldn't say, yeah, I wouldn't say born, but the stage was set by boxing.
Okay.
Like, I think if any fighting system at sport at that time, black fighters would have brought in exactly what we brought to boxing, which was defense, which was the ability to not be hit, the ability to counter strike. That's why it's not a coincidence that black fighters are well-known counter strikers, even to the MMA. You know, look at and I don't even know as the style bender. Look at his style. Look at George St. Pierre. Look at their styles. Their styles are built off of this make you miss over
their own projection.
Yeah, you know, over just kind of like an offensive mindset, which is nothing wrong with it. It's just each race of man has a different view of fighting, and this is just how black fighters fight. You know, Latin fighters have more of a don't run, stand right here and fight.
That slugger mentality, right
here, yeah, let's go. Like, where you running for? You know, ain't no time, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just their thing. You know, so this is our thing. And from that came the art of 52.
I like that. So tell us, I guess, for the viewers at home, what is 52 blocks and what is the history, I guess, if you can expound on a little more, what is the history behind the original concept of the art?
Defense, you know, it kind of seems that melanated fighters have a higher awareness to defense. This goes back to Shaka Zulu when he fought the British, and you know, he used defensive tactics, which were guerrilla tactics, on a large army. You look at Allen Iverson with the crossover. You know, you look at OJ, you know, on the football field. Like, it's not just contained to fighting. It's what we do. You look at breakdancing. You look at the way we dance. Not that it has this defensive element, but all of them have this defensive element, you know, that we use, you know, at a higher level. So 52 is just that. 52 is the technical look at that principle of defense in fighting, which would be not to be hit, how not to be hit, how to control range. And what does how not to be hit control? That controls range, that controls timing, that controls blocking and interception, of course, but that also controls slipping, ducking. So 52 looks at defense in that level, not just blocks, the whole thing.
So that actually leads into that actually leads perfectly to the third question I have here. So seeing as 52 blocks, in my understanding of the style, it comes across as a very hybrid boxing based style. Now, with that hybrid idea, I guess we'll take it from how you have shown the concepts in your videos and such that I've seen on YouTube. What are some of the foundational systems that comprise your version, I would say, or your applications of 52 blocks? And for 52 blocks as a whole, are there multiple versions of it, or is it one specific system that has just been passed down?
I think this is where the confusion of 52 comes in, and you'll have other guys say it's something else. Like they'll have the hand shapes, but they really don't have the understanding of it. So it's really just a defensive system. It piggybacks off of nothing. There's no other arts that go in to make it 52. 52 pairs well with other arts, but the offense that it was first dealt was punching. So it has a higher level. It has a more in-depth look at someone throwing punches at you and trying to hit you in that manner. Kicks, it can also have a defensive angle for kicks too. But it was mainly, it had to do in the beginning, all it had was boxing. Now we have more arts that we are allowed to compete in, but boxing was the first sport Black men were allowed to compete in before boxing. I mean, before basketball and baseball, it was boxing. So it comes from that element of punching and striking at that level. So it has no Wing Chun influence. It has no karate influence. But later on, did you see people using it with that in that level? Yes, it can be, because it's a defensive art. So you can imagine I'm using karate kicks with my 52 blocks, and that's I forgot the drug dealer that was very known for that. I think it was not Wayne Perry. He was with Fat Cat. I forgot his name, but he would use like a version of that, which would be like 52 blocks with karate kicks, because it doesn't really have an offense. It's like a shield. Like what could you put a shield with? Anything. A sword, a gun, a rock, a dagger, so if the shield had a style, what would it be called? 52. The art of the shield. So it could be paired with anything. So I think some of the brothers that remember the pairing, that's what they were seeing. They were seeing someone who had an offense other than boxing. So if you went and took Muay Thai and did 52, you would be doing 52 with Muay Thai's kicks or Muay Thai's elbows. But what you would use to defend yourself would be 52.
So it's more so a capsule that you can pour other systems into in order to not say improve, but in order to just make it your own specific thing, rather than already being a hybrid in and of itself. Am I correct?
Well, it goes deeper than that. It's actually the other side of fighting. See, this is why defense is so funny, is that most people don't even conclude it as a side of fighting. Why is that? Because most people always see themselves winning. They always see themselves as getting off the karate chop. No. See, defense is the truth to fighting. Is what happens when he's kicking your ass? What's happening? What do you do? See, everybody always sees themselves as winning, but that's not a fight. Now, a fight can have, it's like a wave. It can have a tide that goes back and forth.
Right.
Like a basketball game. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're up. And so if the fight is long enough, it could have a wave. So whereas, what are you doing when he's on? Like, what are you doing? You just got to punch for his punches? Like, no, it's defense. Like, defense is the other side of fighting. Like I said, with boxing, all they had was offense, and it was a bloody mess. Men beat the living pulp out of each other. The black man came in and they said, and it was, no, I'm not just going to stand there and let you beat on me.
It's like playing chess, right?
Yeah, I'm going to make you miss a couple. Then I'm gonna get off, and then it's like anything else. Is there any other sport that exists straight on offense? No. Even when you're scoring the basketball, you got to get back down there to the other end and now defend your rim. A football team has a defensive squad and an offensive squad. Right. But it's just funny that when people think of fighting, they totally forget about defense because they always see themselves as the ass kickers.
Or some people, I will notice that they've actually seen, they'll actually think of the offense as the defense, and in essence, kind of cancel out.
See themselves as winning.
Right.
See themselves as winning. Yes. You believe you're just gonna go punch him all upside the head, and he's gonna he's gonna punch you back. And what are you gonna be doing when he's doing that?
Oh, okay. Kind of like the old adage, I think Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Then all of that offensive dream and your offense is your defense goes out the window.
Right.
And then we check what you do after you get punched in the mouth. For sure. So that's the answer. Those are the questions defense answers. What do you do when you get punched in the mouth? What do you do when he's trying to punch you in the mouth? See, offense will only tell you what are you doing when you're trying to hit him. Defense is going to tell you what are you doing when he's trying to hit on you. And that's the question that most fighters don't ask themselves.
All right. So now this next question I have actually comes from one of our viewers via Facebook. This is from Vanessa Nicole. Shout out to Flawless Skincare Group in Buffalo, New York. How long did it take you to gather and apply this knowledge that you've been giving to the community, so to speak?
Well, as my teacher says, the research is ongoing, so I'm still here, so still gathering. But up to this point, it's been about 25 years.
Oh,
long time, long time, very long time. Yes.
No, that's okay. It's all right. Just like wine, martial arts is just like wine, brother. The longer that you hold, the better the wine gets.
I'm in my pomade stage now. I've reached my pomade stage. All I'm missing is the white beard.
The long white beard.
Yeah, 10 more years. The next interview, 10 years from now, I'll have the long beard.
well, hopefully we won't wait 10 years for the next one. Hopefully you'll be back again. But that's a good thought. We can wait till then if you want to get some time to go out.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man. So in thinking about just with the information that you've given, just regarding the realities of 52 and this understanding. So there are some who would believe that even though 52 is its own style, because there are so many people that, put their own thing. Like you were saying, some people put karate in there, some people put Muay Thai or Wing Chun. Like some people would still see 52 as a hybrid martial art, or at least a mixed martial art. And in that idea, they'll think that 52 has an answer for every single system. Would you agree with that, or would you say it may be a little baited in?
Yeah, I think that goes into the martial art fantasy. Like we all gotta there's no way there'd be no reality if there was no fantasy, right? So
right. The
fantasy is that there's an art that handles everything, and there is no art. No art can boast that Tai Chi boasts that, but it's really mainly a principle. Their principle really can handle anything, but technically no. But so at that point, what I'm trying to say is every art is a hybrid. I can take karate, put it with boxing. What is it? But what martial arts is free expression. That's where it goes beyond what you're trying to name it. It's your expression of your movement. So what would you name that more than who you are? So I think, like I said, the fantasy is when we use the name. So that's Crane and Swing Chung.
Right.
The reality is when we understand it to be the expression of ourselves. And I think you need to find an art that expresses you. A lot of people go to arts just because they see it they see it in the movies. Like they think they're ready for Muay Thai, but they don't know the expression of Muay Thai is tough, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't even tough enough to be doing Muay Thai. But
like soldiers, this was big for soldiers back in the day.
Yeah, it's like, do you really know that So I think you need to pick your arts like that because it's just expression, and no one can tell you what you're doing is right or wrong. And that's where we get into the fantasy. It's like, oh yeah, brother, your Wing Chun, your 52 ain't right. Like I don't really go after people with their 52. I kind of say, is it battle tested? That's the only question I would ask. I'm not saying, I'm not questioning your experience. I'm how the movie played out for you, but I'm questioning what happens to it under real time. Like, have you tested that theory? And I think that's with all arts. And once again, that's not really testing the art more than you're testing yourself under pressure. You know, Hemingway's grace under pressure is you. It's like, it's not, the thing is just got you there. Like Wing Chun may have got you in the ring, but now the test is on you, not Wing Chun. If you get knocked out, you can't blame it on Wing Chun. It was your chin, you fell on the floor, not Wing Chun. So at that level, every art is perfect and you cannot put them against each other. You can't really say hybrids. It's your selection. It's like going to a buffet. Some people go barbecue chicken and rice. Maybe he want fried chicken with his rice. But at the end of the day, it's still food. So, you know, I think like any art can be a hybrid. So you can't just put it on 52. All arts are hybrids. All
right. So keeping that in mind, so as a system, I think you were talking about, you actually touched on this just a couple seconds ago about being battle tested. One of the things that that I learned from just going on your website, lyteburly.com, it shows that like you have had that battle tested experience. Like you were one of the very few masters who is willing to, you know, spar anybody who wants to see what 52 really is. So would you say that with that philosophy, what have you noticed, I guess, about flaws that you would probably note for 52 or people who are interested in 52 to try to avoid when battle testing 52 or when trying to see what 52 is about?
Very good question. I think in the beginning, you try to do 52. You try to do 52. And this is a good thing about sparring and battle testing is that you start learning that it's not something you try to do, it's something you become. And how do you become something? Through repetition. That's the magic of all martial arts, is repetition, or any trade. My teacher told me, you're not a master at sparring until you spar 10,000 hours. So I went and got my 10,000 hours. And now when I look at people, it's like looking at the Matrix. I see, you know, I see numbers and schematics. I don't see bodies no more, you know, like I see your foot's out of place. I see how much pressure your back leg can take if I move forward on you. So then that's what you want to waken up. It's like driving in traffic. Right. You know, before you know how to drive, like traffic looks crazy, but then now you drive in traffic, you talking on the phone, sending texts, traffic, because you're traffic. You have to be in that same fight. You got to get that, you know, things coming at you and having to react under pressure. So I think that's mainly what you get out of sparring. And now the technique will work once you calm all of that stuff down. Now you got a chance to use bones to stop a punch. After you've calmed down, you got your third eye, you're calm under pressure. You've already accepted the fact that you will be hit, you can be hit, you can be knocked out. Now you rid yourself of all of those fears. Once you shake that, now you're actually ready to think about ducking the punch and then coming up with your punch, like something technical. But until then, it's all a waste of a time. And that's why you see the people that stay in technique, once they get in the sparring, they look crazy. They look like fish out of water. You know, DK Wu to be one of them. Like we seen, he was a biomechanic specialist. He's standing on balls. He's throwing pins through glass windows. As soon as he went to fighting, he was just looking crazy. He looked like he's never been in a fight before ever. Like, what happened to the one that punched? Yeah, you see none of that nonsense. When someone's bearing down on you trying to hit you, all of that stuff goes out the window. You got a millisecond to pull it off. So it's like, he learned a lot. We see him ain't rushed to do it again.
And I remember remember when the videos came out, like I was sitting there like, wow, this man's like breaking helmets and so you're saying that where he went wrong is or where an error that he might have made, it wasn't battle tested as much as it could have been.
Yeah, he can, because the greatest hater you have is yourself. You're never going to move past them until you make the hater a fan. How do you make the hater and you a fan? Repetition. See, He couldn't fool us. Everything that showed is that he don't spar. We seen it. There was no repetition of sparring. Maybe breaking helmets. Maybe if he was fighting a helmet, it could have been different. I don't know. But yeah, see, a helmet stays still. Like, he has repetition of that, of things that stay right there in front of you. But now, when it's real live time, we seen every part of him looked uncomfortable, meaning he doesn't do that. That's, see, you can't fool the brain. Like, you can't fool the hater. That's why baseball players, if you stick them in the ring, they look crazy with all of that coordination they got. But then you take a boxer and you put a bat in his hand and he looks crazy. What's happening? But they both got coordination. What's happening? You can't fool the hater. See, the hater knows you're a baseball player. The hater knows you're a boxer. Because that's the repetition you've done. You've trained to be a boxer. He's trained to be a baseball player. You can't fool that. So what we've seen is that he did no training to sparring. He couldn't have. He looked terrible. Like, the coordination was terrible. Everything he did was wrong. So meaning he got no hours of sparring in. He got hours of demonstration. Demonstration, sparring, two different things. So that's where we learned that the real thing is different from demonstrations. I can sit here all day and tell you, throw the left hand and do all types of freaky stuff and pluck your eye out and then say, look at this move. But that wasn't freestyle. I didn't do that from a shaking the bacon. Wow, I moved your hand and snatched the eye out. Now that would be impressive. You know what I'm saying?
That's some accuracy.
That's some next that I'm going to your school. When does your school open? Sensei.
Like, that is some pop-based stuff.
And that's what I'm saying. See, that's who I'm looking for. When I can see somebody on the move, snatch an eyeball out, or even attempt it, and listen, I'm going to his school. See, he's done that. Do hours and hours of sparring and understanding energy and timing, because that, you just don't get that. You can't lie your way into that. You can't. Like, your body tells a different story.
So I guess this actually leads into, so from your opinion, from your practice with 52, what is, in your opinion, the overarching purpose of 52 that many people started, like, based, I guess, in terms of your students that you've had, what is the overarching philosophy or principle that most students just completely miss when they come up to you and they're like, I want to learn 52? Like, what is the big thing that they always miss?
That is going to hurt. That the process of learning is very painful, like any other process. There is no growth on you that didn't come with the attachment of pain. When your baby teeth grew out, you had to lose them. They had to fall out. You had to pull them out. They got loose and bled, and for your real teeth to come in. All process of growth is going to be painful. So I believe that people come in for the shapes and they don't think that I don't do a root training where, you may be on, you may not see a block a year into training with me. So it's like, I'm not going to give you fancy hands. Like, we don't build houses. We don't build houses on ice. We start from the ground up, foundation, and build you ground up. So I think the biggest fantasy is that just because it looks like something that's freestyle, I'm just going to get it. And it's like, nope. And like I said, a lot of my students still don't know 1 through 52. Very few can boast knowing 1 through 52, because they may know 1 through 20. It never moved any further because life played the role and they couldn't keep training. So, you just don't come here and get a bunch of arm shapes from me. You get a whole lot of fundamentals. And then when you become a master of fundamentals, you get the funny arm shapes.
Oh wow! So it's like they come to you expecting the McDojo treatment, and then they find out that they're going to the Cordon Bleu or something of combat.
Yeah, exactly. They come from McDojo and then they get pomade. It's like, no, grab that bucket of water and walk up the hill 100 times. And when you pass out, we'll talk then. and it's like, what does that have to do with the block? So yeah, but that's what type of teaching Burly's I offer. That's, so that's why, anybody that I call a Burly, it's not somebody you're going to meet in the alleyway and manhandle any way you want. It's going to be a fight.
That's good enough. Okay, so then the next thing I guess would be, with your battle testing with 52, have you noticed that is given a negative connotation to the art? Like maybe people see it as, oh, you just trying to run out and just rough up a bunch of people, like you're not really about that like martial arts training life. Like, well, have you run into that?
I challenge anybody to do it, to challenge my resume, because most martial artists ain't martial artists. Like I said, I had a guy that came and told me he's trained for 20 years, and then when we broke it down, it wasn't 20 years. He took a 5-year break. He had a hip replacement. No, I challenge anybody to say that you've trained 7 hours every day for more than 20 years, and I mean every day. That's what I've done. So when people meet me, they see why. Like, it's a number thing. It's not a skill thing. This life is about numbers. Like, so you can't match my numbers. Why? I didn't have a job. I was a drug dealer. Being a drug dealer gave me a certain type of amount of downtime that most people don't have in their life. It's just what it is. So, really, for the excellence of being a martial artist, you need the commodity of time. You need to be able to dedicate like 10 hours a day. Who has that time?
Very few. I mean, with a 9 to 5, not many people can.
Exactly. That's what I was gifted for 20 years, every day. No 9 to 5. Never had to run to this day. I still don't run off to a 9 to 5. So, I am part Peter Pan, but that's my true blessing. That is why martial artists have a hard time with me, or have a hard time seeing what I see, is because I really did every day for 10 hours, no less than 6 hours a day, every day for over 20 years. Now, when you do that, you become a different beast. Like, like I said, it's time in. So, I don't think what I've done will give any negative connotation to the art, because time in is time in. Like, if you ain't got time in, you really don't have the art. And Penn and Teller, they proved that. They did a whole Mythbusters about, can you do martial arts for 2 days out the week, get into a fight and use it? No. And they went down to the way your brain is hardwired. No. Meaning you haven't fooled the hater. You have to fool the hater. See, why my hater believes that I'm Bruce Lee is because I went 10 hours every day. It can believe nothing else. Right. I've turned the hater into a fan. So you can't fool your mind. So 2 days out the week ain't enough for your mind to believe you're a martial artist, ready to use it in real time. You got to fool him. And that's why they had movies like Manchurian Candidate about brainwashing, because they understand if you fool him, it's a wrap. That's why, like, people start training when they're a baby. Mayweather started when that's why he believes everything. His mind is going to do it, because look at the time in. He's been doing it since
undefeated.
There's a picture of him at like 6 months hitting the speed bag. So he got from 6 months all the way up to now. You can't go against that type of time. Like Khabib wrestling bears. Like, you can't beat that time. They got pictures of this man at 9 years old with the bear and the dope fiend. Like, and the bear was like, what the hell is going on? Crazy ass Russians. Like, so even the bear is confused. So what do you do with somebody that wrestled the bear since he was 9? You can't do nothing with that. The time in, he will blast you. He just mangle you. Like, and we see Khabib do it. He just mangles men. Like, get out of here. What are you doing? Like, so that's time, man. You can't beat that.
Right. So this next question here, since we're short on time, so I'm gonna get to this question. This one comes from Instagram.
All right.
from one of our fans, Innate Ambition. He says, what is, or I guess in this case, what is the hardest thing about spreading your art to other people?
Getting the people to believe that, you know, it's not really the art, it's you. Like, everybody wants to buy into the art. That's the hardest thing about spreading the art, is that people buy into the art. Like, so, like, you know, they get so stuck on, oh, I just want Wing Chun. They bought into the Wing Chun mentality, not learning that Wing Chun is meant to build you. You are the masterpiece. Wing Chun is not. So at that level, every art should be open to you. Like, if I was in China, I'd learn duck style. Like, it looks, you know, they do, you know, I'd pick it up, because, like, it's not about the art, it's me. It's going to tighten something in me. Maybe duck style gives you better head movement, who knows? But, like, if you stop looking at the art as the painting and start looking at yourself as the Mona Lisa, you're the Mona Lisa. You're the, you know, you're the art that this art is helping to perfect, then you would be open to a lot of arts instead of stuck on this. Bruce Lee kind of talked about it. Like, you just capture a fan of one art is ridiculous.
Interesting. So
the hardest thing is getting people to let go of their mind and be open to different,
that free expression.
Yeah.
All right. So second to last question. What is one piece of advice that right now, with your experience, you give to young martial artists or those who are looking to get into the martial arts?
Never forget that you are the masterpiece. I think that goes back to that, is that always remember through your journey that you're not building the art is building you.
Right.
And keep that mind state, then you'll have an open mind for other artists. You'll have an open mind for different principles, and you won't get bogged down into one way of believing. Like, you are it. You are the thing. You are the God. You are the God. You are the God energy. You are the energy of God. So be open to all, you know, and I think it can only make you a better martial artist.